we hit Moscow. They had the world's largest McDonald's there, and I hadn't eaten in 5 days anything substantial. And when I got up to the front, I just set all my money down there, and I'm like, okay. I was like, I want you to keep those burgers coming. When I went to the Ukraine, we, of course, I'm going back 25 years ago. And
one day we need to tell that story on the podcast.
I have plenty of stories, but, I go to fly into Moscow. I mean, they were like, the wall has been torn down. We can now share Jesus in there. So the American missionary went over there, and he, started house churches, and it was a humanitarian effort.
Right.
So they were like, bring your own food, and so we got over there for a month. But on the way from Moscow to the Ukraine, when we got into the Ukraine, we were going to get on a plane, and they were like, sorry, the plane, we can't fly you in the plane. So we're like, what? And they're like, no fuel.
Ain't got no gas in it.
Because Ukraine was like a third world country.
Ran out of
so
gas.
So we're like, what do we do? And so Mike, Mike, he's like, I guess we take a train. So I get on this train for 20-something hours, but what happened is now we have no way to coordinate. Our guys think he's going to the airport,
Yeah, because you can't.
And we couldn't get a hold of him.
This is pre-cell phone.
Yeah, pre-cell phone. There's 25 years ago. And so we're on this train, and it's like 0 degrees outside, and it's like 100 inside. It's one of the most miserable 20-hour rides I've ever taken. And we're stopping ever so often. Well, we don't even know where to get off. It's just crazy. And so we pulled in at a stop, and Mike said, I think that's our guy. And so we're like, he started hollering English, and then he responds back. I mean, there's, like you said, there's hundreds of people around. I'm like, how did you pick that American out at this train stop? It was just so weird of a happening. It seemed borderline miraculous, So the train starts moving, so we all jump off the train because this is our guy, and we're headed, who knows if we don't get off the train where we're headed. And so I literally jumped off the train, hit the snow and ice. We roll around. We're all looking around, and then the other Mike that was on the trip said, we didn't get our bags because we were in such a hurry to get off the plane. We all left our bag. So we look at the plane, and there's some Ukrainians. They're holding our bags up like, we can't understand what they're saying. I'm like, them doggone rascals. Because they were laughing like, hey, your bag in Russian. I was like, man, they got our stuff, but who cares? We're alive with American. And then they were like, oh, they're asking us if we wanted to throw the bag. Yeah, the train's picking up some speed. So they started chucking those bags they would hit and just explode. All our stuff just. And I was like, it's one of the weirdest things that happened in my life. And I'm not sure if we could see the kingdom. I just thought that was just a strange thing. It was almost like God intervened.
Yeah.
And here's this guy in it, because the country, like you said, was so miserable. It was in such miserable conditions. And that's what Mike had said. He said, he was the only one that didn't have a frown on his face. But it's so weird when you tell that story, because that story popped in my head. And I thought, no matter what happens, there's a joy that comes from the Holy Spirit of God that you get when you're born again, that really in certain aspects of life when you're doing something for God, because look, they said it's going to be rough. That's the only time in my life where I've ever known what it is to be hungry.
Yeah.
Because we ran out of food because I looked at the people. I knew I was coming home to America, and I looked at the people and I thought, they need this more than I do. And so you just got to a point where you just ran out of food. You gave away all your food. Yep. And so the last 5 days, I was like, I knew what it was to be hungry. Yeah. I mean, we started bickering with each other. You couldn't help it. You're just hungry,
They had a little Lord of the Flies thing working there with the mission team.
The exchange rate in the Ukraine was like 750 to 1. So I'm carrying around my money fill in a box on my shoulder, basically with a sign saying, kill me, I have a box full of money. And when we hit Moscow, they had the world's largest McDonald's there, and I hadn't eaten in 5 days anything substantial. So I bought my way to the front of the line, just handing people
because there's
money.
a long line of people.
Oh, there's a long line. And when I got up to the front, I just set all my money down there, and I'm like, okay.
This was back to your teenage years. Whatever I can get in that box, that's what I want.
I want to feed.
And McDonald's, where it was the epicenter of fine dining.
I was like, I want you to keep those burgers coming, and I want to buy whatever this will buy for everybody behind me.
So how many of these Ukrainians and the Russians did y'all win while you were there?
Well, what's interesting is...
Did you plant the seed and get it going?
Here's what happened. We shared Jesus with hundreds of people. We would... How
did they take that overall?
We put up a sign. This was
been under communism, for 75 years, whatever.
Good people. I loved them. I mean, I here recently, when they started bombing, the bomb hit in Gorlovka, which was the town where I was at. And when I went to the internet and looked at all the news media, I literally walked down that road where the bomb hit, which I was kind of overcome with emotion because I got a lot of friends there, who came to the Lord. But what happened was... So
y'all did win a certain percentage of them.
Yeah, I'm going to explain to you what happened. The American missionary, something while we were there happened to his wife, which is another reason why we got hungry. So he leaves. So basically, it's me and my two guys. We don't even have a liaison. We're just in a country that we don't know, and we lost our American missionary. But his idea for sharing Jesus was there were 3 English-speaking universities in the whole country where they go to college to learn English. Well, we put up a sign, and the diagram that the guy who brought you to the Lord came up with. We had we put a sign up at that university with an arrow pointing down, with a cross, with a tomb, with an arrow pointing up, and with the arrow coming back. And we put on there, learn this language from 3 Americans. And the university gave us a 2-hour slot every day. So look, I said, this is what y'all think. I was like, because I was thinking our universities, I thought, ain't nobody gonna show up in here. And they said, no, they're fascinated by Americans.
They wouldn't let you talk about Jesus in our university.
You'd never be able to post that.
But you got to remember, they came in there to learn English. They're there to learn English.
Right.
So, well, how better to learn English from Americans? So that was kind of the draw. So look, we put that sign up. An hour later, we had our first class. I walked in, it was standing room only. And I mean, I was overcome with emotion because I thought, these people have no idea what they're fixing to hear.
That's right.
So I got up and I shared Jesus for 2 hours every day. And it would be a whole new crowd. And so then our next move was they were fascinated with basketball. There was only 2 or 3 gyms in the whole country. And one of them was at that university. So us, the 3 Americans, we'd go down there and play basketball. They had rubber rims, which I thought was interesting. You either had nothing but net, or this thing bounced and like went off the rim.
What you're saying is the downside of socialism / communism was very evident.
Oh, it was terrible. So let me finish up what happened with the basketball. Well, they were so amazed at how well we played that people started showing up. And by the time we left, there were hundreds of people coming to watch us play. And so what we would do, started off, we would be 3 Americans against 3 Ukrainians. But they were so terrible, we just said, we don't care how many you get. So it basically got to where it was us 3 against a mob. And look, they didn't have the concept of dribbling. They're running with the ball, but it was fun. And so then we would invite them to our little apartments and flats, or to our class, and we would share Jesus. So we didn't baptize a whole lot of people because it was tough to find some water, but a lot of people made professions of faith and said they were going to put their faith in Jesus. But look, here's what happened to finish this story. Well, a crew came in after we left, another crew, and they brought hundreds to the Lord. And they were like, we can't figure out where all these people came from. But I knew, I was like, oh, we planted the seed through those basketball games, through those classes, then the church took off. So, you go in stages, and here are these people that were, trying to find something to eat. They found Jesus through that experience. It was an awesome experience. But it was the same thing we're talking about here. We brought the most powerful thing on the planet. we brought the Spirit of God through the introduction of Jesus.
That's right.
And those people, despite their conditions, they became the most powerful people on the planet. They knew their sins were removed. They knew why they were here. And no matter what happened to them, if they died of starvation, they knew they was going to live forever and be a part of God's eternal kingdom. And that's what we try to convey, the difference in our theology and our principles than a lot of religious people. It's not a physical thing. Being a part of the kingdom ensures you of everlasting life because you have that Spirit. But it also, you show the fruits of it in a country that desperately needed hope.
Yep.
So